Hello and welcome to a new vlog and trip report. Today we're in the UK again, we're in England. We're taking a look at the Dartmoor Line. We are going from Exeter Central to Okehampton and back to Exeter, and here on the map you can see our route today. We're starting at my hotel, the Indigo Hotel, and from there I walked back to the station Exeter Central, which is the station that is closer to the city centre. Here I bought my tickets and now we're heading to the platform, and here we can take a look at the arrival of my train, which will now bring me to Okehampton. As you can see, it is a train of the class 165. This class has already been part of one of my videos. We can take a short look into the train again in the 2+2 and 2+3 configuration with a quite tight seat pitch, no tables but power sockets, and the seats are quite okay. And here we are leaving Exeter Central.
The next station is Exeter St David. This is a Great Western Railway service to Okehampton.
We're now heading down to Exeter St David's at the River Exe, and from there you have a few connections to important railway lines. The only connection to all cities west of Exeter is this railway line here, and we have also a connection on to Bristol, which is also the more important railway line and connection between Exeter and London. Here we are at Exeter St David's. We can see one of the long distance trains of Great Western Railway, the company that we are traveling on today as well. But we are focusing on the Dartmoor line, but we're starting on the Tarka line, as we're now going on the Tarka line to Crediton, and from there we are changing to the Dartmoor line. I'm not talking too much about the Tarka line, as there will be a separate video later on. The Dartmoor line, the line that we are focusing on today, has a quite interesting history, as it was closed for passenger services in the year 1972. It remained open for freight trains to Kerry, shortly behind Okehampton, and from 1997 to 2019 there was a heritage railway called Dartmoor Railway, and in November 2021 the line was reopened for regular passenger services, and now there's usually one train per hour in each direction. Here we are at Crediton, and you can see how lovely the station looks like. You can clearly see that there's a lot of effort put into the look of the station. You can get some information about what you can do in the city, and you can find something like this at all stations here on the Tarka and Dartmoor line, which is something I really like, and I think it's very nice that even such a small branch line can be a touristic destination if you put a little effort in it. We're now on the Dartmoor line and we're now heading to Okehampton. Here we can see the interior of my train once again. The railway line is not too spectacular, as there are mainly trees next to the tracks, so you do not have that nice views, even though we're pretty close to the Dartmoor National Park. But you can use the train to go into the Dartmoor National Park. For me there's not enough time to visit the National Park, as I just have 1 hour here at Okehampton before heading back, and instead I'm heading into the city center of Okehampton. Here we are approaching the station. As you can see, also this station looks very nice. We will see it a bit better when we are back at the station to get back to Exeter, and now we're heading into the city center of Okehampton. I had no expectations of the city, as it is a quite small city with less than 6,000 inhabitants, but still, as I had a bit of time, I went down the hill into the city center and was quite surprised by how beautiful this little city actually is. I'm always surprised when I visit small English cities by how much shops they have and how much they have to offer. As you can see, we have this arcade here with a lot of small shops, a few cafes, so there is something to do and to see here in Okehampton, and it's worth heading into the city for 1 or 2 hours. If you have more time, of course, you can head into the Dartmoor National Park, but you will need much more than 1 or 2 hours, as you already need around 45 minutes to get to the beginning of the national park from the railway station, and then you can start a nice hike there, so that would be a suggestion for a day trip. After taking a look at the quite surprisingly beautiful city center of Okehampton, I then went back up to the railway station. We can take a look at the beautiful station, which is also very nice, especially when you consider how small the station nowadays is. As you can see, it has modern features, modern passenger information, but there's also a small restaurant where you can sit down. We have a waiting hall, we have a small museum, and even a museum shop where you can get some souvenirs and also some information about the area. And now it's time to take a look at the arrival of my next train. As you can see, this is now a different train. It's the British Rail Class 150 in a 2+2 configuration with a bit more comfortable seats. The seat pitch is also pretty tight. There are tables and power sockets available. And now we can listen to the departure of my train here in Okehampton.
The next station is Crediton. This is a Great Western Railway service to Exeter Central.
Here we are driving past a new station called Okehampton Interchange, which will open later this year, and now we're heading back to Exeter. Okehampton was not always the end of the line. It used to be a quite important connection between Exeter and Plymouth and all the cities west of Exeter, but this has been replaced by the railway line that is now going on the southern side past the Dartmoor National Park. But there used to be also some smaller branch lines here starting in Okehampton. In the meantime, we're now back at the Tarka line. At the moment we're going parallel with the Tarka line, and we're at a station called Geofort. Here we can see the platform, and as you can see, the platform is also a bridge, which is quite interesting. But unfortunately, this platform only exists at the northern track. We're at the southern track, and nowadays there's no more connections between those two tracks here at Geofort, so we cannot stop here as the platform at the southern side is not existing anymore. So we do not stop at Geofort. Our next stop is Crediton, and only here you can change to the Tarka line. So if you want to go from Okehampton to Barnstable, you have to wait for quite a while at Crediton. But I'm continuing on back to Exeter. As you can see, we're now in the golden hour of fantastic lights, and we can see a few of the small stations in between. We're now stopping at all stations after Crediton. There's only one station in between before reaching Exeter St. David's, where I'm now leaving the train. So in the next video we will continue in Exeter St. David's. We will be not traveling on the Tarka line as there was no good connection. I had to wait for quite a while in Crediton, but there will be a video about the Tarka line later on. But in the next video we will take a look at yet another railway line in this area. We are now traveling in the British Rail Class 150, which was constructed between 1984 and 1987. It's a rather old but quite nice and comfortable train, in my case also with a door at the front, so two units can be coupled together to become one longer train. Here we can see the Bristol Exeter line, and now we are reaching Exeter St. David's, and here I'm leaving the train and we can listen to the departure of my train. So that's already it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Here you can see when the next video will be uploaded and the name of the song. As always, I'd like to say thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video then.